Hello, friends, and welcome to another video lesson from DBOS Talk. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe and click the bell so that you can be notified of new uploads. This video is in the playlist called Linux Tutorial, and this time we'll be learning about the Linux less command. If you remember, in the previous video, we've learned about the Linux more command, which is very much related to this one right here. So just like the more command, the less command, which is in lowercase less, is also used to view text files, okay? But this less command is much more powerful, if I may say, than the more command. Okay, so if we will look at the syntax for the less command is simply less and then the file name. All right, so just like that, less and then the file name, whatever it is. So in my case, okay, let me just clear the screen for a while, and let's just say there's a file which I have, which is a text file, and I want to do view it. So I will use the less command. So again, less and then the file name. Remember, you'll be using this on a text file. So these are the contents of the file practice.txt. And remember, in Linux, it doesn't really actually mean that if a file ends with txt, automatically it tells you it's a text file. There's a command to really get into an error-free way of verifying the type of file that it is. Okay, so in this case, this is really a text file that we're looking at. Okay, so when you do a less file, it is very similar to a more, when you use a less command, it's very much similar to using a more command, but with an additional capability compared to the more command. So let me just paste in here the features of this. Okay, so let's say if I want to navigate. Okay, before I get into that, let me just put in here the features of the less command. So it opens large files quickly, and what else? It lets you scroll forward and backward. If you remember, in the more command, it only allows you to scroll forward, okay, using the space bar. Here, it allows you to scroll backward, okay? And finally, although this is not really the last, there could be other features, but these are just the highlights. It does not load the entire file into memory at once, so it's more efficient. Okay. And then if you look, if we will talk about the navigation. Let me just put in here one by one. Give me a sec. So give me a second. Talk about navigation. Okay. When we are using the less file, you press the enter to go to the next line. You press the space bar when you want to go to the next page. You type the lowercase b if you want to go to the previous page. Up down arrow keys, scroll line by line. Okay, so and I'll just cut to the chase. You can finally use this, the lowercase q, to quit. Once you're inside a text command after executing the less command, the only way to get out of it is to type lowercase q, which means quit. Okay, so that's the less command for you. Now going back, let me just nope, less. This is the file I have, and then like I said, if I want to navigate to the next line, I can just press enter. Then it navigates line by line. Okay, previous line, I can type the lowercase b. Okay. And if I want to quit, if I want to exit the session, then I can just type the lowercase q and it takes me out. Okay, so it doesn't give you that text file that we were looking at happens to be a short file, so it's not a good example. In any case, I'll be using the same kind of illustration or demonstration I used in the more command, which is using piping or pipeline. All right. So there is a message in Linux, it's called the message. All right, which is used to print or control the kernel ring buffer. So you have a mouthful of data output in here, which is thrown to you all at once. So it isn't good enough. The way to cut it into viewable chunks of data, page by page, that is by using the less command. So I will be using that. So to do that, I will use the deep message, and then you will use a technique which I have discussed in a previous video called piping or pipeline. So I use a vertical bar called the pipe, and then followed by the next command I want to use, which is in this case the less command. That means when you do a piping, if just to refresh you, or for those who are not familiar, you will stitch together two or more commands, okay? Not as you wish, but as they make sense, okay? So in this case, when you do a piping, the output of the first command becomes the input of the subsequent command, okay? So in this case, the output of the dim message becomes the input of the less command. That is why when I issue the less command in here, I am not following it up with it is not followed by the file name, because it's taking an input, its input, from the output of the dim message, okay? So here what it is saying is, after it executes the dim message command, which you will not readily see the output of, that output is being passed to the less command, and it will do a page by page viewing of the output of the dim message command. Okay, so here we go. And if you want to go line by line again, then you just press on the enter. Okay. Okay, again, next line by line, you press enter. Enter, 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 enter. And if I want to go to the previous line, I'll type or press the lowercase b. Okay, and if I want to do a page down, I can press the space bar. All right. If I want to go to the previous page, sorry, the lowercase b is a previous page. Okay. Again, space bar going forward like a page down, page up is the lowercase b. Okay. Finally, if you want to quit this view, remember, the less command is something like a more command. It's only with an additional whistle thrown in there, but it is mainly used for viewing text files. Okay, when I say view, that's really what it is. The meaning you cannot edit a text file using either a more or a less command. In Linux, in Unix as well, which is the original, then you will be using some other command, which is called VI. Okay, so for viewing only, that means you will not be able to edit. All right. And finally, after all doing all the navigations that you need, line by line, page by page, forward and backwards, then if you need really to exit this file, then you will need, in this case, this is not a file we're looking at, but we're looking at the output of the dmessage command. Okay. So if you want to quit this view, then you will just type lowercase q, and it exits you. It lets you exit the session wherein you're doing a less. Okay, again, less command is a command to view text files or ASCII files. But comparing it to the more command, this allows you to go backwards, like a previous page, like a page up kind of thing. Okay, thank you for watching and listening. If you haven't subscribed yet, please click subscribe and click the bell. And I'll be seeing you in the next video.